Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Players Own YouTube channel and welcome back to the Premier League prediction video here for match day 29. We're in to the final 10 matches of the Premier League season. A shortened game week this weekend with Newcastle and Liverpool both playing in the EFL Cup final. So 8 games to dive into this weekend. Some massive ones though. Brighton travel to Manchester City. Manchester United desperately need to win away to Leicester City as well. And then obviously the biggest one of the weekend, Arsenal taking on Chelsea from the Emirates. So a lot of massive games to dive into for this weekend's action. Looking back to last week and our predictions did well yet again. 9 points added to our total, taking us to 189 points on the season. Again, the aim was 250 at the season start, and we're looking on track to get there after a few good rounds here in recent times. If you're wondering how the prediction points work and you're new here to the channel, 3 points for the correct scoreline, 1 point for the correct result predicted, and obviously 0 points for neither. So let me know how you go in the comments section down below. With that being said, ladies and gents, let's dive into this weekend's Premier League predictions. Our first game is at Goodison Park as Everton play host to West Ham United. A very interesting game, this one here. Two teams with contrasting form. You look at Everton, unbeaten run continues. It was a competitive 1-1 draw away to Wolves. Probably not their best performance, but yet again, not being beaten, which is a big thing. Unbeaten in their last 5 games. Have not get a clean sheet in the last 6 games, which is surprising for such a very well-rounded defensive backline. 4 draws across those last 5 games, however, so unable to get over the line yet again. A few of those 1-1s, a few of those 2-2s, they haven't quite able to put a 2-0 or a 1-0 result in. I feel like they'll look to try and produce something like that in this game here versus West Ham. For me, looking at this game here, Harris and Lindstrom were fantastic in that game versus Wolves. They linked up for that goal, the only goal for Everton that game there versus Wolves. I think they'll be important yet again. With West Ham playing with those wing-backs, Wan-Bissaka and Skulls, trying to push them high up the pitch, there will be spaces in those wide pockets, in the half spaces and out wide in the flank. So if Harris and Lindstrom can work well in the wide spaces, stretch this West Ham backline, target those 3 centre-halves, especially in transition, that's a big opportunity for Everton to get in behind and get some scoring opportunities. They didn't look at their best going forward last time out. Obviously, Beto up top had a great run initially under David Moyes, but that run sort of slowed down. He's come back to reality a little bit. So the goals have to come from other places, and I feel like those 2 wire players in the attacking regions will be very, very important for that. And then equally important is the defenders in the wide space. Mikalenko and Jake O'Brien as well. Massive jobs to stop those wing-backs from West Ham United. As I said, Wan-Bissaka in some fantastic form since Potter's come to West Ham. A license to drive forward, a license to show his ability on the ball, which we haven't quite seen at his time at Crystal Palace or Manchester United, but he's looked dangerous. Remember that goal versus Arsenal was all coming from his run down that right-hand channel. So look to those 2 wing-backs to threaten Everton, but then O'Brien and Mikalenko, big jobs to shut them down. Looking at West Ham off the back of that 1-0 loss at home versus Newcastle last time, disappointing for them. They only scored 4 goals in their previous 5 games, losing 3 out of 5. For me, it's pretty simple. You need goals back in the game of this West Ham side. They're playing some good football. They're not getting the output though, so I look to the 2 up top. Kudus and Jared Bowen, not out-and-out centre forwards, but they're having to play there. Use your pace. That's the difference maker between this back line. Tarkowski, Brandt, not the quickest too. Neither is Jake O'Brien as a fullback as well. So there's opportunities to get in behind here. Make runs from deep regions. Get in behind this back line. Try and make space for yourself and run at the goal, because that's the real difference maker here. Everton have been solid in obviously the last sort of 2 months or so defensively as a rule of thumb, but they've been a little bit more leakier in recent weeks. And with the pace you've got up top, that is going to be your avenue to go, I feel like, at this Goodison Park game. With that being said, I think Everton, they come into this game, they're more confident, the 2 sides. They're playing the better football through different patches, and they know how to win at Goodison Park. So I'm backing them in here to get another win. A 2-1 win here versus West Ham. West Ham will be dangerous, but I just think they have the clinical edge to get over the line in this game here. We're off to Portman Road as Ipswich play host to Nottingham Forest. Ipswich coming off the back of that very disappointing 1-0 loss at Selhurst Park last time out. They were in that game for large periods of time. Right at the end, Sarr scores the winning goal for Crystal Palace. So disappointing, but at least they're being competitive. I think that's been a theme of their season. Competitive, but just not good enough They come into this game without a win in their last 5 games, no clean sheet in the last 10 games. So it's pretty simple for me. When they had that great run of form across 3 or 4 games in the middle of the season, it was off the back of 2 clean sheets in that time there. So they've got to go back to basics and keep it compact defensively. It's going to be very, very hard versus a very dynamic, fast-moving, in-form Nottingham Forest side. So I look to those wing-backs, Leif Davis and O'Shea. Massive jobs for them to prevent those wide, pacey wingers of Nottingham Forest getting in behind, beating them in transition, and helping protect those 2 centre-halves from the danger and the speed of the Nottingham Forest counter-attack. So they have to be at their best in this game here if they want to keep Nottingham Forest at bay, who were fantastic last time out. They beat City 1-0. It ends a run of 5 games without a win. They're back on track there. They go into this game here off the back of that clean sheet and that 1-0 win with the most clean sheets in the Premier League once more alongside Liverpool. They are good defensively. They normally travel all right. However, they have no wins in the last 3 away games, including 3 losses in that time there. So 3 losses on the bounce. It's time to end that run of form if you're Nottingham Forest player, if you're Nottingham Forest fan. And again, keep pressure on Arsenal in second. It'd be quite a historic season if they can end up in second place despite all the things that are talked about Arsenal, the players they have. It'll be really, really special if they can end up in that spot there. So they've got a lot to play for. They want to keep this top 3 or top 2 spot locked away for themselves and secure Champions League football. As I said, they come to this game here versus a very weak and vulnerable Ipswich backline. Hudson-Odoi and Anthony Elanga on the break are going to be absolutely brilliant to watch in this game here. They're going to tear this Ipswich side apart. If they're at 60, 70% of their best, I think they can break this game apart, get it won in the first half. But it's so important they get it won early. They're a team that likes to play on the break, likes to play in transition. I imagine Ipswich will allow Nottingham Forest the ball and try and just throw them off in that regard. So the likes of Nicholas Dominguez and Anderson in the centre of the park there as well. Fantastic versus Man City in terms of the defensive output. But in this game here, it's going to be important about their passing array, getting the ball moving quickly and through the lines of this Ipswich defence. So important game for them more in the attacking mode in this game here if Nottingham Forest want to be successful. It's 5 games unbeaten for Nottingham Forest versus Ipswich. I think they'll continue that run here. Not going to be straightforward, but they will get the win and end their winless run away from home. Going with a 2-0 Forest win here at Portman Road. Ipswich make it hard, but Forest quality shines through in the end. We're at the Etihad for our next game as Man City play host to Brighton and Hove Albion. One of the more entertaining games to come from this weekend's action. Looking at Man City, they come off the back of that 1-0 very disappointing loss at the City ground. Again, far from their best in the final third, lacking precision, lacking that incision in the final third, and making the right reads and the right plays. They've got 5 goals in their last 5 games in all competitions, only 1 clean sheet kept in their last 5 games. So problems at both ends of the park. But in particular, I think for me is going forward. A lot of possession, a lot of sideways, boring stuff. They need those creators to get on the ball. I'm looking at Phil Foden. I'm looking at Bernardo Silva. They were man-marked out of the game by Dominguez and Anderson versus Nottingham Forest. But with Brighton, yes, they're very capable midfielders, but less defensively orientated. So get on the ball, drop it to those little pockets, make things happen, get the ball moving much quicker and more precise in the final third, and goals will come. Erling Haaland is a natural goal scorer, just hasn't been given the opportunities across the last month and a half or so for me. And then equally important, down the other end of the park, Ruben Diaz, Kusanov, they were very, very good versus Nottingham Forest, but a little blip in the second half, sometimes slow in possession to play out of the back, it cost them. They're going to have to be touch tight, so like João Pedro, Yankube Minte, Karim Matoma, Jorginho Rutter, some very, very dangerous forwards for Brighton. These have to be really switched on here, protect that back four, and don't look vulnerable. They've looked vulnerable in recent weeks. I think Kusanov's been up to the task. Ruben Diaz has to lift yet again to show that he is the man to lead this Man City side. So massive games for those two at the heart of the centre-back position there. Looking at Brighton, fantastic run of form and a fantastic win last time out. 2-1 at home to Fulham, a late winner there with João Pedro from the spot. It's 6 straight wins, 13 goals scored in their last 5 games. It's all happening, and it's about going forward and scoring goals. Danny Welbeck off the bench has been clinical. João Pedro again, more clutch goals, more major moments. He's so important for this Brighton side. In their build-up play, can drop into midfield and be that link-up. But more importantly, in the box, he's an absolute fox in the box. Scores goals, takes his chances. He will be vital yet again. And then a massive game required from Baliba and Ayar in the centre of the park. Going up against Nico Gonzalez on his own, if they win that midfield battle, if they can keep in possession and on the ball for long periods of time, this Man City side will tire. They will make mistakes defensively, and Brighton have an avenue to a win in this game here. We obviously know Brighton beat City earlier in the season. I think it's going to be tight, but I think City have to bounce back, and they will here at the Etihad. A 2-1 City win. I think a late winner for the likes of a Doku or a Haaland will be the difference in this game here. Southampton play host to Wolves in our next match here. Southampton coming off the back of an unfortunate 3-1 loss away at Liverpool. They were in the game for a little bit, but really outplayed by that Liverpool side. A real story of their season so far. No win in their last 5 games, only 2 goals scored in those last 5. I think coming to this game here versus Wolves, a side that's in better form, playing better football. I'm just looking at the creators, Tyler Dibbling and Mateus Fernandes, and in particular in the final third there. Show us what you've got. Make things happen, tick the ball over, try and get an early goal, get something that this team can hold on to. Because it feels like in recent games, not the Liverpool game, but outside of that, they've gone down too early. They've had to chase games, and there's holes at the back defensively, and there goes the game. Start fast like you did versus Liverpool, score a goal or two, get on the front foot, and make this Wolves team actually have to play catch-up. That's the way I see Southampton causing any sorts of problems in this game here. I look at Wolves, handy point at home versus Everton, a 1-1 draw there. They picked up back-to-back 1-1 draws as underdogs versus Everton and Bournemouth. So they're playing some better football without getting the output of points and results in recent times. For me, the insurance of that back three have been much better in recent times, and that's led to improved performances. In particular, Agbadou, Tochi Gomez, alongside Doherty at the back there. That back three have been superb. Look to them to be central yet again to Wolves playing some good football here. Keeps hold defensively, keeps Southampton at arm's reach, and eventually they will falter defensively. So massive game required from those three at the back. And then the sort of box midfield they've got going here with Gomez, Andre, Munetzi and Bellegarde for Wolves in those sort of deeper lying and more progressive central areas. Look to them to run right versus this young, inexperienced, mistake-riddled Southampton side. If they play like they did versus Everton, control possession like they did versus Everton, they will run right in this game here versus Southampton. And that's why I see Wolves winning it and winning it quite convincingly. 3-1 here for me. Wolves making a mark and getting back to winning ways in this one here. We're on the south coast for Bournemouth and Brentford in our next game here. Bournemouth off the back of a very disappointing thrown away type result as they drew 2-2 to Spurs last time out. They've had moments in recent times where they've really struggled. It's no win in the last 4 games, no clean sheet in the last 5 games. Probably one of their worst runs of form we've seen so far this season after a fantastic December, a fabulous January. They've seen it just slowing down since that point in time. Common sign with Ilyas Arbani being suspended. He comes back in this game here for the Bournemouth side. He'll be important alongside Dean Huijsen at the heart of the centre-back position there to keep the likes of Johan Visser, Brian Mbeumo and Kevin Schade quiet. Massive game for those two. And we know at home that Bournemouth like to build out from the back and build off defensive solidity. Bournemouth play at their best when they're keeping clean sheets. So the return of Zarbani alongside Huijsen is going to be massive in this game here for me. And also going forward, Justin Kluivert in career best form, and Tavernier has been in fantastic touch since coming back from injury in recent weeks. Been so important for their ball movement going forward. A goal threat, most importantly, and make things tick over at home. In particular, where they like to play a bit more on the front foot and in possession. Those two will be pivotal to the build-up play and the chance creation for Evan Nilsson and co. So look to those two to have a key fingerprint all over this game here in the final third for Bournemouth. Looking at Brentford, they went down 1-0 at home to Villa. They were competitive, but far from their best. 6 goals in their last 5 games and a real mixed bag of results. 2 wins, a draw, and 2 losses in that time there. It's sort of been a symbol of Brentford season. They haven't really gone a long run of form where they've won a lot of consistent games. Haven't travelled too well as well, we know, this season. They've improved in recent weeks, but not a great team away from the G-Tech. For me in this game, massive game required from Janelt and Norgard in the more defensive midfield positions to shut down Bournemouth and what they're doing with the ball. As I said, Bournemouth like to play in possession and play with some speed and transition at home. So these two have a massive job to protect that back four and not allow spaces for that midfield area to dominate for Bournemouth. So massive game required from those two. And then the attacking midfielder, Mikkel Damsgaard, he's been an absolute superstar this season for Brentford in terms of chance creation, making things happen, and feeding the likes of Johan Visser and Brian Mbeumo. He'll be massive yet again to try and continue to push this Brentford side forward in this game here. Brentford coming with the great history, 4 wins and 2 draws in their last 6 versus Bournemouth, being unbeaten in that period of time. I think that run, however, comes to an end here. Bournemouth at home are fantastic. Brentford don't travel well. Ilias Arbani returning. It's a great recipe for a Bournemouth win. And I'm going with a 3-1 Bournemouth win here. Evan Nilsson on the score sheet. Tavernier and Clive top it off. And a very easy, controlled 3-1 win here for Bournemouth as they get back to winning ways. That brings us to the London derby at the Emirates. Arsenal versus Chelsea, red versus blue. A massive game here. We'll be live streaming this one on the channel on our Super Sunday broadcast. A massive game for these two clubs here. You look at Arsenal, they come off the back of a very disappointing 1-1 draw at Old Trafford versus Manchester United. No win in their last 3 Premier League games, including 2 draws and a loss. So they desperately need to get back to their best here and back playing their best confident football. And yet again, I highlighted it once more. The leaders in the centre of the park there, Declan Rice and Martin Odegaard. Much better versus Manchester United, but a lot of people are picking it up now. Martin Odegaard is just overcomplicating it in the final third. These two need to lead the side in terms of chance creation and chance conversion. There's not many other options around them. Mikel Moreno's playing up top of centre forward. You got Ethan Nwaneri as a teenager playing on the right. These two, as experienced leaders of this club, captains and vice captains, players that have played hundreds of games in the Premier League, have to do their job, which is to provide for this team and supply for them going forward. So look to those two to be heavily involved for Arsenal if they want to get the result. And then equally as important is the defenders. William Saliba, Gabriel, keep it tight. Don't make mistakes. I think a few mistakes are starting to just creep into Arsenal's games. These two centre-halves, when they're at their best, Arsenal look like they're unbeatable. I think they need to be touch tight to the likes of Cole Palmer, even Neto as a centre-forward, a speedier centre-forward. So you look to those two at the centre of the defence here to keep it compact, keep it tight, and limit the mistakes if they want to get all 3 points here. For Chelsea, off the back of a 1-0 win versus Leicester last time out, 3 straight wins for Chelsea in all competition, starting to find their groove, turn it around a little bit after a very disappointing start to 2025. And I feel like it's going to come once again coinciding with the great performances of Enzo Fernandez and Moises Caicedo, who have been fabulous across the last 2 games. They'll have to be massive yet again here in what would be a really good midfield battle. Rice, Odegaard and Partey versus Cole Palmer, Enzo and Caicedo. A real big clash in there. It was good in the opening game of the season. Yet again, it's going to be really, really important. If Chelsea can win that midfield battle, it goes a long way for them winning this game of football. So look to those two in particular at the heart of the midfield to battle away versus Arsenal cohort. And then obviously the one X-factor player in this game is Cole Palmer. There's no Bukayo Saka. Martinelli's off his form. We know that Jackson and Co have struggled for Chelsea this season. Cole Palmer is that one X-factor in this game here. If he gets off the leash and becomes free and gets lots of touch of the football and takes up dangerous positions, it's only one winner, and that's going to be Chelsea in this game here. But if he's shut down, if he's kept quiet, it's going to be a more balanced game, and Arsenal probably in the ascendancy. So his role and his involvement in this game is central to the outcome of it. We look at the last 3 games for Arsenal at home versus Chelsea. It's a 12-1 aggregate score, and I see that one continuing here. Arsenal, without being their best going forward, still get the win for me. 2-1 here at home versus Chelsea. Chelsea will make it difficult, but Arsenal the better team and very, very good at home this season. We have another all-London game as Fulham play host to Spurs in our next game here. Fulham obviously coming off the back of that very heartbreaking loss away at Brighton 2-1 last time out. They've only picked up 1 win in their last 5 home games, so they want to look to get back to winning ways at Craven Cottage in this game here. I think in this one, Sander Berge is the man for me. Often the litmus test for Fulham, often someone that's a sign of how the side's going. When he's playing well, Fulham are playing great football. They look a little bit more freer. The ball moves quicker. They're in possession more often than not. But when he's off, like he was on the weekend versus Brighton, they really struggle to get a stronger hold of games of football and often can fade out of games. So look to him to have his fingerprints all over this game in the centre of the park for Fulham. I look at Spurs, great comeback, but it was only a 2-2 draw at home versus Bournemouth. And they're still far from their best, but they picked up 3 wins in their previous 5 Premier League games. I think similarly to them as well, the centre area of the park, Rodrigo Bentancur, Pat Matassar, they bring the energy, they bring the intensity, and they're also a great sign of how Spurs are going. a little bit off in the first half versus Bournemouth, and Spurs are nowhere near it. Much improved come the second half, and Spurs are more competitive. They make their comeback. That energy, that precision, that control and possession in the centre of the park is so important to Spurs' game plan. They're such an attacking orientated side. If the centre of the park is all falling apart, they can't go and play that style of football. But the centre of the park is competitive, good in possession, playing the ball well, smoothly and moving the ball forward. Great signs for Tottenham and their style of football. And I think important as well is Pedro Porro and Jed Spence. A little bit off versus Bournemouth. They lost that wide area battle. They basically had the game lost by half-time. Lucky to get the comeback off the back of those two improving the second half. They're going to have to be good yet again. Alex Iwobi and Emile Smith-Rowe. Andres Pereira might drift out wide there as well. They've got very dangerous wide players for them, especially in transition. It's important that those fullbacks of Tottenham stay touch tight despite the job they have going forward and overlapping and creating that, attacking presence in the final third where it crosses into the box. With this game, I see it being a draw. I think it being an entertaining draw. I've gone with a 2-2 draw here. Fulham haven't been in great touch at home. Spurs just haven't been in consistent form. I see it as such being a score draw in this one here. Our final game is at the King Power Stadium. Leicester hosting Manchester United. Leicester coming off the back of that 1-0 loss to Chelsea at the Bridge. It's now only 1 goal scored in their previous 5 games. No win in their previous 6 games. A real tough run of form. This side just really not good enough, not competitive enough. They've got a chance here though versus Manchester United, a team that doesn't score many goals and doesn't keep many clean sheets either. So for me, I think it's built off the defensive solidity. Cody, Thomas and Wout Faes were much better versus Chelsea. They gave away a few chances, but all in all kept it pretty compact and limited the opportunity that Chelsea could have for clear-cut opportunities in front of goal. So do that again here versus Manchester United. Anger them, frustrate them, keep it compact, grind this game out, make it a scrap, because that's when you can possibly nick a point or maybe even all 3 points versus an out-of-form Manchester United side coming off a European game off a Thursday night as well. Looking at United, 1-1 draw in the Premier League last time out versus Arsenal. It's 3 consecutive 1-1 draws in all competitions. No clean sheet in the last 8 games for the club. Real tough time, but improvements have been there. It's a real 1 step forward, 2 steps back feel right now with Manchester United. And as such, there's only one player to touch on in this game here, which is Bruno Fernandes. He basically decides how this game goes. If Leicester can force him to be quiet and out of the game, United have no chance. Leicester have the upper hand and the ascendancy in this one. But if Bruno Fernandes has his fingerprints all over this game, if he's creating chances, if he's getting free kick opportunities, penalty chances, shots in and around the box, Manchester United win the game. Pretty simply put, United are blunt without him, Leicester are blunt in general. So the one player in this game, Bruno Fernandes, will decide the outcome. His involvement decides which team wins this game of football for me. I think he still gets heavily involved. As such, I see Manchester United winning this game, but just. I think a late winner from Bruno Fernandes secures it. Manchester United 2, Leicester City 1. United getting back to winning ways at last in the Premier League. With that being said, ladies and gents, that brings my prediction video to an end here for match day 29. A condensed, shortened match day 29 with the Carabao Cup final on. Let me know your thoughts on my predictions in the comment section down below. What's your pick for the game of the weekend? Let me know that all in the comment section down below. If you enjoyed the video, smash a like on it, guys. Press subscribe on the channel if you enjoy videos and want more videos like these, and press that post notification bell so you know we upload more videos, podcasts, and reaction content here on the channel. With that being said, guys, hope you have a great rest of your day. Enjoy the weekend's football action, and I'll see you guys in the video very, very soon. Till next time, guys. See you later.